A few days ago in Toronto, some men were parading naked in a Bud Light Pride parade. Children were in attendance, of course. The same day in Seattle, Washington, some naked men on bicycles exposed themselves along the whole Pride Parade route, again with children in the audience. It's estimated that 300,000 people chose to attend and celebrate this event. I guess we shouldn't be surprised anymore that there's no sense of shame and also no sense of protecting children. Everything is fair game now, I guess. What occurs to me is the sense of empowerment transgenders, drag queens, and LGBs feel in our era. They know they're untouchable. Any simple disapproval, let alone pushback, can get you bullied and canceled, if not physically harmed, fired from your job. LGBT has the full endorsement of government, education, business, social media, and the entertainment industry and sports. Whether it's nudity, child sexual exploitation, sexual grooming of children, or even sex acts in front of children, it's all not only allowed, but glorified and honored. We as Christians, though, are also empowered. We must never forget that, even though culture is pushing hard to have Christianity labeled as bigots, a hate group, and domestic terrorists. We are empowered by the truth. There is a God, and He is a Trinity. All things were created by His wisdom, intelligence, power, and for a purpose. There is objective morality. There is goodness. There is objective truth. There is significance, meaning, and purpose to life. There is hope. Justice, grace, mercy, peace, and love are all valuable. We are empowered by this. Truth stands. Truth can stand scrutiny. No matter how far we dig and how many questions we ask, truth will not fall or even stagger. Truth empowers us against falsehood, ignorance, bigotry, oppression, and degradation. It's astounding that truth is predictably and perpetually persecuted by humans. Deep down we know that the truth has grave consequences for life, with the potential to severely shake up the status quo. Nothing is more catastrophic to life as we know it than speaking the truth. It is truth that unlocks the chains, not one that stakes them to the wall. Truth is not just inconvenient. Oftentimes truth is just downright dangerous. And yet this is our empowerment. We are empowered by this same truth. Francis Schaeffer writes, "What is the final screen of truth? The answer can only be the existence of God and who He is. Therefore, Christian truth is that which is in relationship to what exists and ultimately to the God who exists. And true spirituality consists of being in the correct relationship to the God who is there. First, in the once-for-all act of justification. Secondly, by being in that correct relationship as a continuing moment-by-moment reality. This is the biblical emphasis on true spirituality. It is a continuing, moment-by-moment, proper relationship to the God who exists." Unquote. Paul writes in Ephesians of the incomparably great power that raised Jesus from the dead is the same power that is at work in us. We are empowered by God's presence and by God's truth. What is this power? It's the ability to live in Christ, to cast off the shackles of sin, to set aside the habits of the natural man, to be transformed by the renewing of our minds, to walk in the Spirit, to respond to God's process of sanctification in our lives, to live in hope, to give love to others, to let our faith be refined by the sufferings of life, and to know the freedom and bounty of truth. Our culture wants us to live in the shadows and shame. Our God empowers us such that Paul writes, I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes. Salvation from the power of sin. Salvation from the penalty of sin. Salvation to the righteousness of God. Salvation by grace through faith to faith. They feel empowered because they can walk around naked in front of children. We are empowered because God dwells in us in reality and in truth.